So we've had lots of conversation this morning about taking the risk, making a bold bet, acting to win in the global economy. And you said in your presentation, you know, we're a healthcare company now. We're no longer just, quote unquote, just a phone company, far more than that. And you talked a lot about healthcare. And let's pull on that string a little bit. What caused a phone company to make a bold bet on healthcare? And we've got a question here. What percentage of the overall, the question is what percentage of the overall revenue now comes from healthcare? You know, how big is healthcare for TELUS, and why are you in that business?
Well, I'm going to be careful not to give selective disclosure. But I can tell you our healthcare business is a multi-$100 million a year business now. I'm comfortable sharing that much. You know, when we looked at it and we got into healthcare 10 years ago, a lot of our peers at the time were getting into TV content and the distribution of TV content, such as the rights to NHL games and things like this. And we don't think that's a bad move, by the way. We think that's a good move, but we looked at that market, and it's a market of about $20 billion a year. And then we looked at healthcare in Canada, and by the year 2020 as a country, if you add up all the provinces and what employers spend and federal government spend, it's a $250 billion market. And our view was the only way we're going to be able to help manage the increasing costs of healthcare, because they're going up and up and up, and eventually, if we don't manage that effectively enough, it's going to crowd out other expenditures we have to make on infrastructure, the arts, schooling, et cetera. Our view was technology is what's going to make the difference. And if we can deliver better health outcomes for less money spent, like my home health monitoring example, that's going to make the big difference. But we stuck to our strengths. We didn't go out and start doing things that we weren't good at. We went out and we built a platform. So much like Google is a platform, or Facebook is a platform, or eBay is a platform that brings individuals together, we went out and built something called the TELUS Health Exchange. And what the TELUS Health Exchange does is it interconnects doctors and pharmacists, governments, healthcare, extended health practitioners, consumers, life insurance companies, you name it, such that they can transact digitally with one another. And that enables a whole new world of possibilities. You take something that sounds very simple, but is a great project that Canada is undertaking, and they decided to do it at the federal level in this case, and we were selected as the partner to do it with, is to enable electronic prescriptions. And again, that sounds very simple, an electronic prescription instead of a handwritten prescription. But the research would show us that 30% of handwritten prescriptions that get written never get filled. So something happens where that patient just decides not to take it into the pharmacy, or loses it, or maybe he's too busy. And when we looked at countries like the US that have electronic prescriptions, then they've been able to get that 30% number down significantly. And as we all know, when individuals take their medication, they stay out of the hospital. When they don't, might end up in the hospital, and then you've got a huge bill impacting your healthcare system. So it's sticking to your knitting and going into new areas. But that said, I would say, in this world of global competitiveness and entering new spaces, I think it's also important to take risks and make mistakes. And I think if you don't make mistakes, it means you're not pushing the innovation envelope enough, and you're not learning enough. I can tell you in my career, I've learned 20 times the value from my mistakes than I have from my successes. Obviously, you don't want to make the same mistake twice, but I think you have to push the boundaries and be willing to make mistakes, learn from it, and re-vector what you do as you go.